Hail Jesus, motherfucking Christ. Nigga, get that right, motherfucking Christ. Shembe, nigga, hail this Jesus, motherfucking Christ. Nigga, get that right, motherfucking Christ. Shembe, nigga, Wasn't coming king. This is what this video was about. I just went to the first video, which is talking about the seed that died and the importance behind this image that Jesus used to say, look guys, I'm the seed that died. And the whole idea behind the seed dying and being planted is becoming a tree that other animals of the garden in the environment can come find shelter and everything. And this is what the analogy of the kingdom of heaven is. But now, what I'm going to do in this video is basically say, look guys, I spent some time with AMANAZARETHA, and these are the guys that saved the Messiah. These are the guys that saved my motherfucking life. And why this is the case is because what they do and the things that they've done, the stories that have been told. So the AMANAZARETHA have a spoken tradition, and I think people don't pay attention to the fact that there's a difference between what is the written tradition and the spoken tradition. So what I'm going to give you an example is the fact that none of the leaders of the congregation ever claimed to be the Messiah or to be INKOSI. INKOSI, if anybody would pay attention, is the God of the AMANAZARETHA, who is best described as Jehovah. So there's a difference. So AMANAZARETHA are people that understand the difference between the Bible literature. Okay, well let me not say the people themselves. The people themselves trust and follow the man Shembe, but Shembe is the one that demonstrates the ability to discern between what is literature and what is reality. So in reality, AMANAZARETHA are following INKOSI. Who is INKOSI? Who is he? He is the God as described in the Bible as Jehovah. So why call him INKOSI? Why don't call him Jehovah? Very important, like if you see the scripture that I've read in John chapter 12, where God has made an effort to glorify the name of Jesus. So the importance behind a name. Jehovah has a name. So Jehovah might be the name of the God in Hebrew, the Latin version of the Hebrew name. But Jehovah will have a name. So Jehovah's name in reality is Shembe, right? And his throne is INKOSI. His title, his position is INKOSI. In the biblical context, in the context of the literature, Jehovah's name is Jesus, and his throne is the King of the Jews. Alright, you know what I mean? That's why you have this temple. So when I created this template, this is the time where I had not met Shembe yet. This is 2018, 2017. I created this template on a mission to respond to a ritual, an African ritual that I had seen. The reason why we were doing this ritual because my family had thought that I was going to marry, and they took me to a traditional healer, and his advice was to ritual. When I looked at the ritual, I was like, I see what this is about. And this is how this template was conceived. The King of the Jews is here to establish the kingdom. The land of broken hearts. You just pay attention. That's what's up, you see. Right, and this is the money that I made. So, very symbolic, very loaded with information. And the whole outcome of what I did in 2018 was to basically announce that Jehovah is the once and coming King. I'm going to actually provide proof. Let me provide proof now. Alright, I found it. I'm going to just take you to my screen view and see what I'm seeing. This was Life's WACK test published in 2018 and republished. So this was published in 2018, as you can see, 23rd of March, this whole test. So I had to republish it, get it from wherever it was, republish it, and as you can see, here's the WACK results. You see, this was published, this was created. You see that? You see that date? 2018, the 20th. This is when it was created, the WACK results. Let me just open that for you so you guys can see. So essentially, it was a comprehension test, and I'm explaining here Might's creative process. Might develop what you call a skills implement. So this is the result of the entire test. It's filled with videos and all sorts of things. Videos as well, explaining the process, and there was two things that was done. There was two proofs. The proof was to say, look, the might that you guys have come to know is actually the custodian of life. And this was done by saying, number one, the original author of the Bible, the Spirit, proving that I'm the Spirit, that might is the Spirit that inspired the writings. The Spirit that's in might, let me just put it out that way, is the one that inspired the writings of the Bible. And then number two, in terms of astrology, the science of astrology, being able to pinpoint and know every human being based on their date of birth, their qualities, their mandate, their life implement, their personality, how a man thinks, knowing a man's mind, heart, and soul, that's basically what was proved. Now I took people to the project that I was busy with and basically showed people how I was able to create, and only because of the fact that human beings or the stakeholders that I collaborated with would swear falsely, then I'd end up in trouble. And this is basically the sworn conviction. You see here, Jehovah is the was and coming King. Jehovah is the wicked and Christian King. So there were two options here that you would decide, and basically here was to say the natural person known as Mike Palusi Kamalo is WACK. Right, and that's basically if you were able to recognize that a nigger was demonstrating the principle, then you'd be able to say, oh, geez, this guy is actually WACK. This nigga's the wasn't coming king. But now that I'm jumping into this is how AMANAZARETHA saved my life. Oh, man. I will love you, baby. Wait, baby. That's how I feel about AMANAZARETHA. I was jumping into it just now. So the sun's coming in. I was jumping into it just now and talking about AMANAZARETHA and how they saved my motherfucking life. And they are people that preserve a spoken law, a spoken tradition. And what I was trying to explain was the fact that none of the leaders of the congregations ever claimed to be INKOSI PHAKAMENI, which is the God of the AMANAZARETHA, the true God. But they always claim to be sitting in the seat of that particular person. However, the congregation, according to the spoken tradition, identify the previous kings, or the kings that sat as INKOSI PHAKAMENI as INKOSI PHAKAMENI. So I want to tell you one of the spoken traditions, and we'll derive the principle together. And this is what I gotta say, is that Africans do this very well. Tell folk tales that preserve principles, the same way the Bible is a folk tale or a piece of literature that contains principles. Here's a story. One of the days, one of the AMANAZARETHA faithful Nazareth came to Inkosi, the founder, Bombela. Let me just say, Isaiah Shembe. Right. And he asked, Isaiah Shembe says to him, look, please man, go get me the newspaper. Right. So just so you guys know, after Isaiah Shembe passed on, his son, Johannes, who is known as Inkosi, took over. And according to the spoken tradition, he is the rightful custodian. He's the actual custodian of the movement. So it's kind of strange, right? That the son of the founder is actually the founder. That's a very strange thing. But let me jump into the story. Bombela, Babamkhulu, they call him. Babamkhulu says to the Nazarite, the founder says to the Nazarite, go get me a newspaper. The Nazarite quickly gets up and goes to go get the newspaper. When he gets to where the newspaper is normally delivered, he finds Jesus holding the newspaper and reading it. And he's just like, what? Say what? Nigga, what? I saw Jesus up in this motherfucker up in here reading the newspaper. I was supposed to go get him, get back to Isaiah Shembe and go in Bombela. Right? So he's confused. He's like, no, this is crazy. Let me go back. And he goes back to report what he just saw. That, look, man, I was going to go get the newspaper, but I found Jesus reading the newspaper. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, I'm tripping, though. I know what's happening. And he goes back, and he finds Inkosi Langa, which is the son of Bombela. And he's like, whoa. And he's like, the son's like, okay, what's going on? Hey, man, Babamkhulu sent me to go get the newspaper, but now I found Jesus there reading the newspaper. What must I do? Should I ask the paper from Jesus or some shit? Like, what should I do? Gosila was like, go get the newspaper. Do what you're told. So the faithful Nazarite goes, he's like, all right. Goes, and he finds, when he gets to where Jesus is sitting, he finds Inkosi Langa himself again reading the newspaper. He's like, whoa, what? Didn't I just talk to you now? Now he's completely confused. Now he's like, whoa. And he runs back to where Inkosi Langa, and he finds the founder there. And he says, hey, you don't know what I just went to. Tried to go get the paper. I found Jesus there. When I came back, I found your son here. And then when I went back there, I found your son again. So I don't know what to do. What should I do? And then the founder of the movement says, behold, a man with a pure heart. Only a man with a pure heart could see such a vision. What is the principle behind this vision? Let's just jump in. This man goes to the founder of the Nazareth movement, Isaiah Shembe. Right? Isaiah Shembe sends him to go get a newspaper. When he goes to get the newspaper, he finds Jesus reading the newspaper he's supposed to get. He's a bit confused. He doesn't know what to do. Comes back and he finds his son, the heir to the congregation, the one that inherited the congregation after him. He finds him sitting there. He's like, I went to go get the newspaper for Babamkhulu, but seems like Jesus is reading. He's like, no, go get the newspaper. He went and get the newspaper, and then he finds the same son who sent him back reading the same newspaper. And then he comes back all confused, and he finds the founder, and he's like, geez, I didn't know what happened. I tried to go get that newspaper, but this is what happened. Right? I saw Jesus reading the newspaper, and then it was your son reading the newspaper. Right? And then I saw, you know what I mean, when I came back here, it was your son. It wasn't you the first time I came back here. What's going on? So this story was told in spoken tradition by AMANAZARETHA to demonstrate two things. that Bombela is known, the founder of the Nazaretha movement, is known as INKOSI PHAKAMENI. He's the first one to coin the seat and say, I am sitting on the seat, on the throne of INKOSI PHAKAMENI. So here's the first king. So the first king is the founder. However, the second king, right, is, so he's the founder, right? He sends this guy to get the newspaper, and when he gets to the place where the newspaper is, he finds Jesus reading the newspaper. Right. So point number one, Jesus is reading the newspaper. Right. Jesus. When he comes back, the founder is no longer the founder. The first king is no longer the first king. It's actually the second king. So it's like saying, let me put it this way. I'm not going to answer that. Let's just go to my notes real quick. Alright, I've just got my notes out. Let's recap the story now real quick. I know it sounded complicated, but let's recap the story real quick so you guys understand exactly what I'm saying. Right. Essentially, what I'm saying is this: when you break down the principle, what happened here? The first king, alright, sent a person to go get a newspaper, and he found Jesus reading the newspaper. So let's just say, right, this is what happened in the first incident. Right. Now, what we have now, when the person finds Jesus reading the newspaper, right, he comes back and he finds in the place of the first king, the second king sitting in his place. When he goes back, he finds the second king reading the newspaper. Right. So this is a seated, right, reading the newspaper. Right. Here, second king sitting where this guy was sitting, reading the same newspaper. Alright, so what is the point that's being made here is that the king that was, and this is the king that's coming. So the statement that's being made here is that the king that was and the king that's coming is the same person. Right? The king that's coming is the same person as who Jesus was. So, what is this? Seeing Jesus read a newspaper. In the context of it, is Jesus reading the newspaper is something that would have never happened in the Bible. There's no such thing. Back in the day, Jesus reading a newspaper would have not happened. It would be the scroll of Messiah or something like that. But the newspaper, no. So that we would call, right? This we would call Jesus motherfucking Christ. Why motherfucking Christ? Because because it's Jesus recontextualized. Right. Recontextualized. Right. So this would have happened in PHAKAMENI. This story would have happened in PHAKAMENI. The first king was seated, sends a guy to go get the newspaper, finds Jesus reading the newspaper, comes back, sees it's not the first king that's seated, it's the second king that's seated. And then he goes back to get the newspaper and he finds the same second king reading the newspaper. So what the conclusion is here is that the was and coming king is Jesus, motherfucking Christ. That is the moral of the story, encapsulated in the spoken tradition that is passed down from generation to generation. What wisdom! You see, I have to say, man, Shembe is Jesus, motherfucking Christ. Right. It's very difficult to understand, but when you pay attention to the stories that are not just, I'm not the one to say it. And this is why I can say now, Shembe and AMANAZARETHA are my witnesses. Because the very spoken tradition of the church confirms exactly what I've come to. And this is what the story ends with. Behold, only a man with a pure heart can see what this Nazareth had just saw. He saw Jesus, then he saw INKOSI, and then he's like, what? The coming king, the was and coming king, is Jesus, motherfucking Christ. So it's Jesus recontextual. It's Jesus reading a newspaper. What's the best way to say Jesus recontextualized? Jesus in today's context. Right. Today, in today's context, we read newspapers. In the context of Rome, people crucified people. They went to the Colosseum to watch people get killed and stuff. Today, people sit on a chair and read newspapers. Right. In that time, it's particularly in the time that this happened. So, you guys get what I'm saying. So I hope you guys appreciate this. This is how we get to understand who the wasn't coming king is. The first king, who is the second king, who is basically Jesus. That is the principle of who INKOSI PHAKAMENI is, who the true God is. Why am I jumping into this? In the first video, I just highlighted the fact that Jesus had the first coming and will have a second coming. And the same Jesus that was, the same Jesus that's coming, it's that. So that's according to what's been consecrated. But what you can see, what's been consummated, what's being applied by the Nazaretha movement, what's being demonstrated or illustrated by the Nazaretha movement is that there wasn't coming king is Jesus motherfucking Christ. Shembe is Jesus motherfucking Christ. So that's what's up. I'm gonna end it there, guys. Hope you guys appreciate it.